Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So it's already been a month since the iPhone 14 Pro series launched, and I did make this iPhone my daily driver, and I'm coming from an iPhone 13 Pro Max, so I'll give you my personal experience on whether this 14 Pro Max improved my overall user experience when compared to the amazing last iPhone, which I absolutely love and I still have it, and it's got like about 99% battery health even after 1 year of continuous usage. So first, the screen. Right away, if this phone still had the notch, that would have been a deal breaker for me. I really am tired of seeing the notch on the iPhone, and for me personally, I needed a refresh, and this dynamic island brought exactly that. I know content does spill over, as the pill shape cutout is not stuck to the top like last time, and this could be distracting a little, but I'll still take this any day over that notch. And the functionality which this pill shape cutout brought wasn't like game changing, but it definitely improved the user experience. For example, when I'm on a call and I'm doing other stuff on the iPhone, I loved how it stayed visible right in the view on top. I love the way how the waveform displays if the other person is talking, so just in case of a bad connection or anything, you can still make out visually on what's happening. And that little detail where the color of the waveform changes when you are speaking as opposed to the other person, it's so subtle, but it is so effective. Also, I love the way music is right up there and the ability to swipe and dismiss the waveform just in case if it's distracting. I found it super useful for screen recording as well, which I tend to use a lot. So instead of pulling it down from the control center, you can just control it from the dynamic island. I love how it shows the countdown, which is right in your face when the screen recording starts. I also love the fact that you can touch it anywhere and it is responsive. You can touch it even on the camera lens and the sensors. So this does really improve your overall iPhone user experience and is a very well thought of feature. Apple just didn't bolt this on as an add-on or a gimmick. This actually is very well defined. Now, one downside is that you'll be touching that camera lens on the front quite a lot if you're using the dynamic island. So it will gather a lot of fingerprints and that will ruin the quality of your selfies. This really wasn't an issue with the notch as you never had to touch it, so I'd suggest using a screen protector. I use the Spigen tempered glass screen protector and I absolutely love this. I have this on my 13 Pro Max for the past year as well, and this one is a cut above the rest. It feels like it's barely there and the quality is absolutely perfect. Also, I'd suggest a case to better protect your iPhone, and what I have here is from our channel frequent collaborator ESR Gear. This is their Halolock Case with Kickstand, so you get all-round protection along with a kickstand built into the camera cutout. Having a kickstand is absolutely amazing on an iPhone on the go, and this clever case does offer that amazing functionality. So highly recommend that. I've reviewed this and I'll leave all the links down below along with offer codes if you are interested in purchasing this case. Coming back to the iPhone, the next feature is the always on display. The way Apple does this is really cool, and it certainly is a feature to show off. But first, there's a bit of getting used to needed as it is distracting because it is bright in dark lighting and it almost feels like you have got a message or a notification due to that brightness. Wish Apple gave control to dim it further. I know this feature is there in the do not disturb settings, but it would be good just to have it in the settings without having to turn the do not disturb focus mode on. But aesthetically, it looks amazing. I propped this phone on a MagSafe stand on my desk and it works like a perfect clock display along with the weather app and my favorite app at the moment, which is called Vocabulary, where it shows a new word and its definition at regular time intervals. But this always on display does affect battery life, almost by 10% extra per day. It cleverly turns off at night, and it does turn off when you put your iPhone in your pocket or you lie it on its face on a table. But yeah, on a daily basis, I'd say that it almost took 10% extra. Would have been good if this was in the low 5%, but the battery consumption here with the always on display turned down is pretty noticeable. Next, cameras, guys. Okay, cameras have gotten so much better on smartphones. So really a model every year means slight upgrades to the camera systems. However, this year, it was a whopping update with a 48 million pixel sensor from a 12 million pixels. Mostly pictures still shoot at 12 million pixels by default unless you enable the Pro RAW mode. Now, this mode gives you sharper images and more detail, and you can edit the heck out of it, but unless you are an enthusiast, I'd say leave this to the pros and stick with the default 12 million pixels mode. But where it actually makes a difference is that new 2x zoom mode. So here the camera system is just cropping into that big sensor to give you 2x optical zoom-like functionality without tapping into the digital zoom system, which means you get much clearer shots at 2x. I really love this new 2x mode, and it feels like it's that perfect position in most situations. Here is 2x both on 13 Pro Max and the new 14 Pro Max iPhones. Next, the action mode is really insane as well, and you'd appreciate it more if you have kids or pets and want to capture that action moment. The stability it provides is insane, and it comes at the cost of resolution, but seeing the end result, I really don't mind it that much. The flash also feels much more natural this time as opposed to shining some bright light over the subject. On the front, again, pictures seem similar to last year's iPhone, and despite the shrinking of that notch into a pill, Face ID still works perfectly as always. Speed and performance wise, even though the iPhone 14 Pro has got the new A16 Bionic chip, day-to-day tasks don't seem much different compared to last time. Really, iPhones in general have peaked when it comes to performance, so any upgrade is going to be marginal. Final point that made a difference is the peak brightness of the screen. This time it's much brighter. You know, I've recently traveled to India, and that too in summer. The screen on my 13 Pro Max with full brightness felt just okay. I always wished if there was a bit more brightness to it. With the 14 Pro series this time, it's going to be just perfect. So besides this, everything else is as usual. That brilliant 120Hz refresh rate, super smooth and optimized iOS, and the apps which really feel more polished than on any other smartphones. And this time, the cost increase and lack of many upgrades to the non-Pro iPhones make these Pro models much more attractive. So if you're shopping for the new iPhones, see if you can push your budget a bit and get the Pro models instead of the standard ones, as you get quite a lot of extra features this year unlike before. Now, if you're still on the iPhone XS or earlier, this really would be a good time to consider upgrading. However, the 13 Pro Max is still an amazing phone, and if you can get an insane deal on it, then go for it, unless you're in love with the dynamic island or the always on display of the 14 Pro series. Everyone on iPhone 11 and forwards, I really don't see a reason for you guys to upgrade unless you feel that the features which I mentioned in this video are going to improve your overall user experience. Now let's talk about things which I feel should have been improved. First, like I mentioned, the battery drain with the always on display, wish it wasn't that noticeable. Next, the lightning port. I know there are a lot of compatible accessories directly from Apple themselves which use this lightning port, but come on, guess it's really high time to ditch that and go for USB-C and avail that faster transfer rates and even faster charging speeds. Finally, it would have been good if Apple bumped the base storage of the Pro models to 256 gigs. They've done it with the non-Pro iPhones where the base storage is now 128 gigabytes instead of 64. Wish they did the same with the Pro models, especially considering the price increase in UK. So that's the 1 month update of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. iPhones have been very reliable, guys, and of late they have been so much better. Really, my iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's one of the best iPhones which I've used, and the 14 Pro Max here continues that trend while giving not game-changing but useful features, which is going to improve your overall user experience. So that's it. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and whilst you're there, guys, please hit that like button so YouTube algorithm can push my content to more viewers out there, and consider subscribing so I can keep making these videos for you. And as always, thanks a lot for staying with me until the end. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.